Okay, Dreamer, please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be checking out Iron Devourer in this video, both T10 and T15. Again, I recorded my T10 progress at the time when I cleared it, so there'll be a much more relatable level of gear as well as hero transcendence for your account right now as you are playing global. Okay, so the thing about Iron Devourer is the team is pretty standard. You will have to use Pascal because he's the best DPS for this. You cannot use Shane because the boss actually takes less physical damage, and you also have to have Victoria here for paralysis immunity and Lucy for poison immunity. Asura is used early on to place taunt on the middle hit because there are 3 hits and you only can hit the middle hit to deal damage to it. Evan is here for extra defense and shielding and to protect the team basically. Some people also use Vanessa over Evan to actually cast defense down on the boss so that you can do much bigger damage and have probably a faster run. So right from the start, I placed the taunt on the middle hit with Asura. She has very high weakness hit. If your hero has very high weakness hit, you'll be able to hit the middle hit easily. Then the boss actually casts defense down on your entire team, which is why Lucy is there to cleanse. Otherwise, you'll be taking a lot of damage. And then next up, you'll have Evan cast the shield to actually protect your team better. Thereafter, once everything is set up, you can actually just start casting Pascal's skills. Pascal's top skill is going to be a very strong hitting skill, and if you don't have him at T6, okay, I'm at T5, if you don't have him at T6, the skill itself has 50% crit chance. At T6, he gets 100% crit chance, so that affects the way you gear him, which I'll talk about later. Pascal's bottom skill will automatically reset his top skill, allowing you to use it one more time and deal big damage. Again, the damage output on my units are not that great, okay, on the lower side if I have to say, but nonetheless, this is what I have to cope with. Lucy's bottom skill is a healing skill, but not only that, she's able to reduce the cooldown on Pascal the moment you have her at T6, so that's a very good transcendence effect. Thereafter, all you need to do is you can cleanse, okay, if you are afraid of dying. As you can see, my Asura and Victoria's health are pretty low and they have the potential to die, especially my Asura. I can't even see her HP now. So before she dies, I try to land the focus target on the middle hit again, so in case she dies, my Pascal wouldn't be hitting any other hits. Then after that, I think she'll die at this point, but it's okay. Oh, she didn't. But thereafter, I decided to take the very safe route over here, unfortunately. So I'm gonna cast Pascal skills now. All you need is about 3 to 4 skills. I have way lesser damage output than expected, so I need 4 skills. But if you're stronger than this, okay, you can actually do it in 3 skills or less. Thankfully, Pascal, at T2, I believe, or when you enhance his skill, when you enhance his bottom skill, he actually gives himself 2 hits of damage nullification. So if the boss actually attacks him twice, he won't take any damage, which is pretty clutch because, there are times when your Pascal is so low on health and then the boss just kills him, and when you're so close to clearing, yeah, that's very unfortunate. So I have Evan here on the defense set as always. For the shields to be tankier, make sure you skill enhance his passive as well as the shield. Lucy is also on a defense set and only on a 3-piece, okay, so not the most optimal at this point, but 3-piece and mainly on defense because her healing skills of defense, so that's what you want to do. As mentioned, her passive, you should skill enhance her passive because it lets her heal herself when she uses a skill. And then for her top skill, if you skill enhance it, it actually not just cleanses debuffs but also increases the amount of defense boost it gives to your entire team. Pascal is a DPS that you really want all his skills enhanced so that he deals very good damage. For his gears, I'm using the damage dealt increase set. When there's 4 pieces, it actually does extra damage on bosses. So what you want to do is push his crit rate to 50% before T6. Okay, unfortunately I can only get mine to 33.4%. Try to have good substats on your gears. My substats are atrocious. okay, especially like block rate and speed. All these are unnecessary substats for Pascal. Of course, getting the pieces are the most important thing and the most RNG thing, so take your time for this. And I have to say that even though my Pascal is T5, it doesn't mean anything if these gears are bad. Okay, because some people feel like if your transcendence is high, you should be doing well, but if your gears are bad, it still doesn't matter if your transcendence is high, because unless Pascal is T6, then anything before that is about the same. So just to talk about his skill enhancements, basically if you skill enhance his passive, he gives himself more magic attack boost, which is definitely what you need so that he does more damage. Skill enhancing his bottom skill gives him damage nullification increase by 1 more stack, so he can tank 2 hits from the boss and not die so quickly. If you transcend him to T2, which I strongly recommend, this cooldown shortens, so he's able to cycle his skills even faster, and this is very game changing in terms of his usage. His basic attack just does more damage, upon enhancement nothing much, and his top skill also just does more damage. For Victoria, she's only on the 3-piece and the pieces are just also bad. She's currently on the half a block set, okay, so there's only a bit of block rate increase. I would strongly recommend giving her 4 pieces of block set so that she tanks better. As you can see, the block rate with 2 pieces is already 50%, so with 4 pieces it can go very high, and she has much better consistent tanking abilities. If you enhance her passive, she heals herself upon using a skill, but you realize that in the entire run I didn't use her skill at all because it wasn't necessary, but some people do use her skills to boost Pascal's damage capabilities, which is something you can opt for, but in terms of actually doing it auto, sometimes her skill actually interferes with your auto. So if you were to do this manually, then I would suggest it is worth a try using her skills to have a very large damage output from Pascal. For my Asura, she's on a 3-piece block set, which doesn't give me anything, so 2-piece effect only. Please enhance her passive because it gives herself 80% weakness hit chance, which means you only need 20% weakness hit chance on her, and as you can see here, I overshot by 8.8%. Due to the gears, so I would actually reduce it from the gears and actually give her some other main stats or substats that are more defense oriented, such as block rate, defense percent, HP percent, so that she tanks better. Enhance her focus target skill as well because it also decreases defense by quite a substantial amount, because in this particular raid you don't have an active defense decreaser unless you use Vanessa or Ace as a passive, but if you don't have this extra defense down, then your Pascal won't do as much damage. For the pet, I'm using Nina because I need Pascal to have more crit rate. So you saw just now my Pascal only had 33.8%. So Nina helps to push that to 48%, 48% or 49%. It's actually really close to 50%, and that actually helps him to land the crits that I need from his skills more effectively. As for the repeat battle, my first skill is always to cast the focus target on the middle head and then proceed with cleanse and shielding, then Pascal skills, and finally a heal in between. I actually have a heal in between Pascal skills just to ensure my survivability, because back then when I was doing this raid I was not surviving very well, so it was a bit tricky. So I actually had another idea of just going all out on my Pascal. If you realize that before I mentioned, if you actually have substantial damage for your Pascal, you actually don't need so many hits on this boss, which makes him the easiest boss actually. Yeah, so in this case I brought Lina for damage boost, and this was my auto run on a T9, okay, just to show you guys how it works. And if you guys actually have Lina, you can consider bringing her over Evan as well, because Lina actually helps to buff your Pascal's damage in such a way that you only need about 3 hits or even less. Yeah, or you just need 2 hits to clear the T9. So you essentially only use 5 skills, and you don't even get to the point where the boss does so much damage to you that you are dying. So with that, we'll move on to T15. Of course, with T15, this was actually the first T15 raid I completed before Ox King and Iron Devourer, because I was also pretty confident in my Pascal, who is now a T6. Okay, so at T6, I actually make sure that he gets more crit damage because he no longer needs crit rate. And also we have Biscuit here who's gonna buff weakness rate, and you realize Asura is gone because with enough weakness hit rate on Pascal, he will automatically aim for the middle hit. You don't need to have focus target. Technically the weakness hit rate increase is like a focus target. So I always start with a match with buffing Pascal first so that his basic attacks can even land on the middle hit. And then I'll proceed to cleanse with Lucy so that my team doesn't take too much damage. Then it will just be firing off Pascal's skills. So as you can see here, the crit and the weakness hit both land, which is very ideal. Crit is definitely a guaranteed because he's at T6, he is at 100% crit rate. And then the weakness hit, you just need to make sure that you have sufficient weakness hit to match Biscuit's buff. So reset his skill again and fire it off again. I definitely feel like the damage output can be higher as well because ultimately my gears are not at the best. So thereafter, it will be healing and sustaining your team. As you can see, this block rate Lina still heals pretty substantially, so it is actually decent enough if your Lina on block rate still has HP percentage rolls. So here, the Iron Devourer is going to repeat his entire cycle of skills, which starts from the defense down again, right? So defense down, always cleanse, and then I'll use Biscuit's buff right after, and before Pascal uses his third hit. And once that is done, use Pascal's third hit, reset it, and land the fourth hit, and you should be pretty much done. So one other option here is to use Lina's buff. You realize I didn't use Lina's buff at all, I didn't use Victoria's buffs at all. Of course, I could have made the run a lot shorter, but again, I was playing with the mindset of queuing as little skills as possible based on what I think the auto should be for this particular raid. Because if you if you set too many buffs before Pascal's skill, then you will realize that in the auto raid, the moment that these buffs are cooled down, they will be cycling the buffs and your Pascal's priority will be much lower, right? Because you're gonna place all these buffs at higher priority first, and if their cooldown is too fast, then your Pascal is gonna not even attack. So I was playing with the mindset of actually just focusing on Pascal's attack and using as minimal buffs as possible. Of course, if I were to use Victoria's buff and Lina's buffs, I'm pretty sure my Pascal can do way more damage, and for a manual run, I think that would be much more effective, but if you were to think about it in an auto sense, it would not make so much sense. Biscuit again, full block set with block rate main stats. Make sure you skill enhance her buff skill. Lucy on full defense set now with all defense percentage main stats. If you can make them to plus 15, even better, so that she heals a lot more. Her healing is based off defense. Even buffing her basic attack is useful because she actually helps to reduce the attack of the Iron Devourer. But the thing is, because Lucy here doesn't have benefit from the focus target, so she may be hitting the other hits. Victoria here is finally on the full block set. Nothing beyond the same skill enhancements. I didn't change much, I didn't add on. For Lina, full block set as well, with HP percentage on the weapons. And finally for my Pascal, okay, attack percent on the armor as the main stat. As you can see, the substats are more towards attack oriented, offense oriented ones now. Crit rate is absolutely unnecessary, so if you have no crit rate, is even better. Probably sub it in with crit damage or weakness hit, even better. Weakness hit 10%, crit damage 12%. Okay, the other two are not important. I actually gave him weakness hit on his main stat so that he hits the middle hit consistently, because I realized that even with Biscuit's buff, If your substats do not have enough weakness hit chance, he will not hit the middle hit because he'll be relying only on 50% from Biscuit's buff. So you need to make sure that your substats for Pascal also has high weakness hit rolls. And for the pets, I was using Yonji, but if you don't have Yonji, use Note for increased attack percentage. And if your Pascal is below T6, use Nina or Dillo for extra crit rate. If your Pascal is above T6 and above, go for Note or Yonji. You can even go for Little Fang for more crit damage as well. For the auto, I'm actually using the first skill as Lucy's Cleanse. You don't have to worry about her using this too early because if there's nothing to cleanse, the AI will not use it. So I put it first so that it's always at first priority. Second priority goes to Biscuit's buff, followed by Pascal's skills. So again, this is like how I played it just now, very minimal, making sure that the buffs I need are just set up. Then Pascal can keep firing off his skills. Healing comes after Pascal's skills, followed by healing from Lucy as well. In case Lina is still on cooldown, then Lucy can fill in the role as a healer. And in the meantime, her bottom skill also helps to cool down Pascal's skill cooldown, allowing Pascal's priority to go up. So that's all I have for this video on Iron Devourer. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will reply them. Do give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much and see you!